So, talking about projects and potentials and things that are going to be a little bit longer term than anything else. I scored a deal on this reading utility box bed, which is actually sized for a Nissan hard body, so it's actually appropriately sized for a mini truck instead of being full size or too big or too long, too wide, whatever it is. So I went ahead and bought this. I'm actually going to be building my own, from scratch, and it's actually going to be fitted on this trailer that this one's currently on. So I need to get this guy off and onto the single cab 87 B2600 carbureted manual four-wheel drive. But that thing has been torn down completely to frame and has been trying to build it back up from there. The carbureted motor was no good, so what I'm hoping is I can either use this 91 2600i fuel injected motor, which is that one there. If I can get that thing, because it's already been rebuilt once and it was not rebuilt very well because it smokes the whole county every time you're trying to drive it, and it's also been sitting out for a little bit too long. But if I can rebuild that motor and use the transmission that I'm going to be pulling out of this and rebuild it so I can get fourth gear back and all the other gears, I can use that powertrain to bring this truck back to life using that bed on that frame with that cab from a different truck, and it's going to be like a Frankenstein mess, but hopefully it'll be a running single cab four-wheel drive at the end of it. And as far as what's gone on with this, I've had this the second longest compared to my Mazda truck, the 90 two-wheel drive automatic. I don't remember how long ago I bought this, but it never ran when I bought it, but I got the whole entire truck for 300 bucks. And the cab was crimpled along the entire transmission well. So I think the previous owners did a Dukes of Hazzard jump with it, because this entire fender, when has been cab swapped as well, so this isn't the original cab for this anymore, but their fender well was completely hammered back into place, and then the transmission tunnel itself had a wrinkle crimped all the way along the back of it. So they definitely messed something up badly. I'm slightly worried that this corner of the frame is not in the place it should be, but I've used its front suspension, or front axles and hubs especially, to make that one still drive, because I had to go to Georgia and back for a delivery, and I was hoping to be four-wheel drive and play a little bit along the way back, but four-wheel drive still didn't work, but I used its hubs. That's what all this pile of stuff is here. It needs to go back in there, but this gear, something is wrong with the probably the pinion or the ring gear or something in here. But when you had both axles in and you try and spin this, they only go opposite to each other instead of rolling forward. So like if you're replicating that you're rolling the truck forward or driving at all, the whole entire thing would bind up and wouldn't even move a millimeter. So something is wrong in that housing and needs to get fixed before I can use it. For the time being, this is some extra part storage going on inside. It's a mess in there. I have a Lund Moonbeam cap visor that's actually for this truck. Is something I bought off Facebook for kind of cheap, I think 75 bucks. But I love this style of visor more than the S10 visor, but that one was already equipped, so this one went here. It also has a sun visor or sun roof that I built into it, that I got off of a Ford Ranger, and it's real fun to mess with this because in Mazda speak, this is the roof. There is no structure going through it. It's just the perimeter that is held in. So I had to make structure here. I'm actually going to redesign this eventually. I'm going to wrap it around and make a wedge plate for it instead of trying to center it, because it'll be centered with silicone and force and screws. So that's what this tarp is on here for, because this is not siliconed in yet, and I'm trying to keep this as much weather resistant as possible. It's not very successful, but it's better than nothing. this door is also junk. I'm going to be swapping it with this truck's door. That door was on this door, but that door was on this one. So I wanted my doors, the angled windows. So I took this door on here, that door to here, that door to here, and ended up accidentally putting the bad doors on the good body that I'm going to actually build. This one's all only parts. It's not good for nothing. Anyhow, single cab. Probably going to get the powertrain out of the truck behind me, and if things don't work out in rebuilding the 90, the OG truck, then I'll be able to use its powertrain instead, and have that. But at the end of it, this is going to be the cab from an 86 B2000 with the bed from a Nissan utility box truck, and the powertrain from a 90 or 91 fuel injected. And if I get an amazing deal, I might even just do an LS swap and be done with it. But for now, it is being used for mock-up, because this is the plate bumper that'll be going on this truck over here. It obviously needs to be narrowed. Even without the fenders, you can tell that it's sticking out like 3 or 4 inches. So I'm going to cap that off, probably angle it just slightly, but cap that off. You can put a winch on this, but I also have that brush guard, and that is going to get mounted to this as well, so that I can have probably like a light duty winch on there for ease of access, like pulling a tree or a log out of the way or something. And then a heavy duty vehicle recovery is going to be on this one. And this is Rugged Ridge. I want to say that is probably Smittybilt. I don't remember. But this one is a whole mess of project, especially because it doesn't even run or drive yet. This one is only parts. I had to learn how to get these hubs off, because there's no thing online about how this hub assembly works, and everybody was telling me that if I drove this vehicle without front axles in, the wheels would fall out and go in a crash. It works if you take the whole diff out. Like as it sits right now, if it was running, you could drive it and it has no front assembly whatsoever, because the hubs are held on by a ring gear pinion. I'll show you this little thing here. This collar that is in this rim here is actually the hub itself, or the control arm, and then these are the hubs, and it is threaded with a gear tooth on it, or a tooth washer I should say, and it's threaded, so you screw in a washer with all these holes in it, and you got this little bolt that keeps that washer from backing out, using the washer that keeps the tooth on, and it keeps it from coming off. So without an axle, this is still a functional system. You don't have to have axles in your front four-wheel drive. And obviously, having a hole in your differential on the passenger side would be an issue. But either way, I had to figure out how this was. It was not easy, and some things got broken. So, especially on the driver's side, or passenger side, I mean. But this truck is basically a storage closet. I'm going to be parting out this chrome trim because it's hard to get sometimes. I am missing this trim piece here, but you can only do what you can. Somebody might want these. And everything in this door, or in this cab, is mainly door customs and interior customs, but there's just a bunch of stuff in there that I just got to get figured out. And then scrap metal and all this is back here, and other projects. So, and these running boards are going to go on that truck when everything's said and done. I also have a chrome Tacoma bumper that I was going to put on something, but the problem is that that bumper has to come off in order to fit this truck bed. That truck's bumper is better for off-roading. It's not chrome and beautiful. It'll work. And if anything, I might put that Tacoma bumper on my 90 truck, but the 90 has a 109-inch whip antenna from a CB, and drilling a hole in that chrome bumper might not be worth the value loss. so I might just end up parting that as well. But I have a ton of project and videos and things I can be doing on these two trucks down here in that bed and the other utility bed that I'm going to build on my own. So there's a lot to be done.